The text glowed mockingly in the darkness of our bedroom. 3 little dots appeared, disappeared, then reappeared again, a digital heartbeat of betrayal. I hadn't meant to look at Mark's phone. It had buzzed twice while he was in the shower, and I'd reached for it automatically, thinking it might be the fertility clinic with our latest results. Instead, I found myself staring at Lauren's name. Lauren, my best friend since college. Lauren, who'd held my hand through 3 failed IVF treatments. Lauren, who was now sending my husband messages at 11:43 p.m. I miss you already. Today was perfect. My fingers hovered over the screen. The bathroom door creaked open, steam billowing out. I kept my eyes fixed on the phone, my voice steady. How long? Sarah? Mark's footsteps halted. What are you? How long? The silence stretched between us like a rubber band about to snap. Water dripped somewhere in the darkness. Mark's breathing grew heavier. 6 months, he finally said. I laughed. The sound was foreign, almost hysterical. 6 months. While I'd been injecting hormones and crying over negative pregnancy tests, you've been fucking my best friend. It's not like that. His voice cracked. You've been so focused on having a baby, you barely see me anymore. Everything is about schedules and temperatures and... Don't you dare. I stood up, his phone still clutched in my hand. Don't you dare make this my fault. Mom's right, you know. A woman your age should have had children by now. Lauren. She understands what I need. The phone hit the wall with a satisfying crack. Mark flinched, but I felt nothing. No tears, no rage, just a cold, crystalline clarity. Your mother. Another laugh bubbled up. Of course. Helen must be thrilled. Her barren daughter-in-law finally getting what she deserves. Sarah, please. Does Evan know? The question surprised even me. Mark's brother had always been kind, always defended me against Helen's subtle jabs. Mark's silence was answer enough. Get out. My voice was steel. Pack a bag and get out. This is my house too. You can't just. Actually, I can. The house is in my name. Remember? You insisted on it because of the tax benefits from my old executive position. The position I gave up because you wanted me to focus on starting a family. He stood there, water still dripping from his hair, looking lost and pathetic in his towel. For a moment, I saw him as Lauren must have, weak, easily manipulated, desperate for validation. Fine. He grabbed some clothes, stuffing them haphazardly into a gym bag. But this isn't over. We need to talk about this properly. Oh, we will. I watched him dress quickly, fumbling with his buttons. Send Lauren my love. Tell her I'll be seeing her very soon. He paused at the doorway, one hand on the frame. I never meant to hurt you. Funny thing about intentions, Mark. They don't mean shit when you're sleeping with your wife's best friend. The front door slammed. I stood in the darkness, listening to his car start up and pull away. My phone lit up, Nina calling. She always had a sixth sense about these things. I let it ring. There would be time for comfort later. Right now, I needed to think. To plan. Lauren had always been so proud of her perfectly curated life, her carefully maintained image. It would be a shame if something happened to destroy all that. I picked up Mark's shattered phone from the floor. The screen was cracked, but I could still make out Lauren's last message, sweet dreams, baby. Tomorrow's going to be amazing. No, Lauren. Tomorrow was going to be something else entirely. Helen Mitchell's perfectly manicured nails drummed against my kitchen counter. 3 sharp taps, a pause, then 3 more. Like Chinese water torture in designer jewelry. Mark tells me you're being unreasonable about all this, she said, examining a spot on her blazer. Really, Sarah, at your age, you can't afford to throw away a marriage over one indiscretion. I continued chopping vegetables for a salad I had no intention of eating. The knife made a satisfying thunk against the cutting board. Did he tell you who he was sleeping with? Well, no, but... Lauren. The tomato split perfectly in half under my blade. Your tennis partner. The one you've been pushing him toward since our second failed IVF. The drumming stopped. In the silence, I could practically hear the gears turning in her head, recalculating her approach. Lauren is a lovely girl, she finally said. From a good family. And she's still young enough to. The knife clattered onto the counter. Get out. I beg your pardon? Get out of my house before I do something we'll both regret. She stood, smoothing her skirt with practiced precision. You know, when Mark first brought you home, I told him you weren't suited for our family. Too ambitious. Too focused on your career. A proper wife understands her priorities. Like Lauren does? Exactly like Lauren does. She reached for her purse, then paused. The fertility treatments clearly aren't working, dear. Perhaps it's time to accept that some women aren't meant to be mothers. The doorbell rang before I could respond. Helen's lips curved into a smug smile, probably expecting Mark. Instead, Evan's voice called out from the entryway. Sarah? You home? Helen's smile vanished. Evan doesn't need to be involved in this. Too late. I moved past her to open the kitchen door. We're in here. Evan filled the doorframe, his usual easy smile replaced with concern. His eyes darted between Helen and me, taking in the tension. Mother, he said coolly. I didn't expect to find you here. I was just leaving. Helen clutched her purse like a shield. Sarah and I were having a civilized discussion about her marriage. Really? Evan's eyebrow rose. Because I just ran into Mark at Lauren's place. Seemed pretty uncivilized to me. The color drained from Helen's face. You went to Lauren's? Someone had to tell her husband. My head snapped up. Lauren's married? 3 years now. Poor guy works overseas most of the year. Engineering contracts or something. Evan's voice was casual, but his eyes were hard. Funny how that never came up in all those tennis matches, right, Mom? Helen's composure cracked. She hurried past Evan without another word, her heels clicking rapidly across the floor. The front door slammed behind her. You knew, I said when we were alone. About Mark and Lauren. Evan sighed, running a hand through his hair. Found out last week. Been trying to figure out how to tell you. Why didn't you tell Mark's precious mother instead? Because she already knew. Has known for months. He pulled out his phone, showing me a series of texts. She's been covering for them. Arranging their meetings under the guise of charity events, tennis lessons. The pieces clicked into place. All those times Helen had insisted I was too tired, too stressed to attend her social functions. The knowing looks between her and Lauren at family dinners. She wanted me gone, I whispered. All this time, she was orchestrating my replacement. Sarah. No, this is perfect. I felt that cold clarity returning, sharper now. Helen's always been so concerned about the family's reputation. I wonder how the country club would react to a scandal involving their beloved social chair. What are you planning? I smiled, thinking of Helen's carefully cultivated image, of Lauren's secret marriage, of Mark's desperate need for approval. Nothing they haven't earned. Evan studied me for a long moment. Just be careful. Revenge has a way of burning everyone involved. Don't worry. I picked up the knife again, resuming my methodical chopping. I'm very good at controlling the temperature of things. You should know that by now. The tomato juice spread across the cutting board like blood, and I felt something dark and satisfying unfurl in my chest. Helen wanted a proper wife? I'd show her exactly what a career woman could do when properly motivated. The country club's annual charity gala buzzed with artificial warmth and whispered judgments. I watched Lauren work the room, her red dress catching every eye, her laugh carrying across the space like wind chimes. Mark trailed behind her like a lost puppy, nodding at whatever Helen was saying to their little group. "You sure you want to do this?" Nina asked, adjusting her camera. As the event's official photographer, she had the perfect cover for capturing everything that was about to unfold. "Just be ready." I smoothed my black dress, funeral appropriate, I'd thought when buying it. Lauren's husband should be arriving any minute. Right on cue, my phone buzzed. A text from Evan: "James Adams just cleared security." 5 minutes. I'd found Lauren's husband easily enough. A few calls to old contacts from my executive days, some carefully worded emails about urgent business matters. James Adams had been more than happy to fly back early from his contract in Dubai when I mentioned concerns about his wife's handling of their joint accounts. "Sarah." Lauren's voice cut through my thoughts. She stood before me, champagne in hand, wearing the same fake smile she'd used when consoling me after my miscarriage. "I didn't expect to see you here. Wouldn't miss it." I sipped my water. Helen was very insistent about maintaining appearances. "Yes, well." Her eyes darted to where Mark stood. "Sometimes appearances are all we have." "How's the marriage, Lauren?" "Yours, I mean. Not mine." The champagne glass trembled slightly. "I don't know what you're." "Sarah Mitchell?" A deep voice interrupted. James Adams stood behind Lauren, his face tight with confusion. "I got your messages about the accounts. What's going on?" Lauren went rigid. "James? You're supposed to be in Dubai until..." "Until what, Lauren?" I asked sweetly. "Until the divorce papers were filed? Or until you'd finished transferring his family's inheritance into your private account?" The color drained from Lauren's face. Across the room, I saw Helen grab Mark's arm, both of them frozen in horror. "What is she talking about?" James demanded. "Nothing. She's just bitter because..." "Because you're sleeping with my husband?" I raised my voice just enough to draw attention. "Or because you and Helen orchestrated this whole thing while stealing from your own husband?" The surrounding conversations died. Nina's camera clicked softly, capturing every moment. "That's enough." Mark stepped forward, Helen clutching his sleeve. "Sarah, you're making a scene." "Oh, I haven't even started." I pulled out my phone, showing James the banking records I'd obtained. "Your wife has been very busy while you've been away. Setting up offshore accounts, making large transfers." Helen helped her find quite a creative accountant. James grabbed the phone, his face darkening as he scrolled. Lauren's perfect mask cracked. "It's not what you think," she pleaded. "I can explain everything." "Explain what?" I pressed. "How you and Helen planned this for months. How you used my infertility treatments as cover for your meetings. Or should we discuss the property you bought in your maiden name?" The room had gone completely silent. Helen's social circle watched with barely concealed glee as their queen bee's carefully constructed world began to crumble. "You vindictive bitch," Lauren hissed. "You have no idea what you're doing." "Actually, I do. See, while you were playing happy families with my husband, I was calling in favors from my old corporate days. Did you know tax fraud investigations can freeze all your assets? Even the hidden ones?" James's phone started ringing. Lauren lunged for it, but he stepped back, his face cold. "That'll be my lawyer." "Excuse me." As he walked away, Lauren's composure shattered. "You've ruined everything." "No, Lauren. You did that yourself." I moved closer, keeping my voice low. "You took everything from me, my marriage, my best friend, my dignity. Did you really think I wouldn't return the favor?" "Sarah, please." Mark stepped forward. "This isn't you." "You're right." I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in months. The old Sarah would have suffered in silence, tried to fix things, blamed herself. But you all taught me something valuable about family and loyalty. Nina's camera captured the moment perfectly, Lauren's mascara-streaked face, Helen's horrified expression. Mark's dawning realization that he'd created this version of me. Sometimes, I said, raising my water glass in a mock toast. The only way to deal with toxic family is to burn it all down and walk away from the ashes. The fire alarm chose that moment to shriek to life, sprinklers raining down on designer dresses and perfectly coiffed hair. Right on schedule, thanks to Evan's timing. I walked out dry, protected by the awning, leaving chaos in my wake. Behind me, I heard Helen's outraged scream as her charity gala dissolved into expensive puddles. Sometimes revenge is best served wet. The manila envelope sat unopened on my kitchen counter for 3 days. Nina's photos from the gala were already making waves, Lauren's tearful confrontation with James splashed across social media. Helen's reputation in tatters. But this envelope promised something darker. My phone buzzed. "Evan, have you looked at them yet?" I texted back, "Not ready." The doorbell rang. I knew who it was before opening the door. Mark stood there, looking haunted, his wedding ring conspicuously absent. "You shouldn't be here," I said. "Lauren's pregnant." The words hit like a physical blow. I gripped the doorframe, steadying myself. "Congratulations. I'm sure Helen's thrilled." "It's not mine." His voice cracked. "She's 3 months along. James's baby. She knew before. Before us." I laughed, the sound sharp and brittle. "So she trapped you for nothing." "Sarah, please. I need." "What you need doesn't matter anymore." I grabbed the envelope from the counter. "But since you're here, you might as well see what your mother's been hiding." The photos spilled across the kitchen table, surveillance shots from a private investigator. Helen meeting with Lauren months before the affair began. Bank statements. Property deeds. A systematic dismantling of James Adams's fortune, with Helen taking her cut as the facilitator. Mom wouldn't. Mark's face went ashen. She couldn't. She did. Lauren wasn't the mastermind, she was the weapon. Helen used her to get rid of me, probably planned to discard her too once she served her purpose. I spread out more photos. "Your mother's done this before. 3 times. Different women, same scheme. How did you?" I had resources from my executive days. People who owed me favors. The kind of connections Helen never thought I'd use. I tapped one particular photo. "Remember Caroline? Your college girlfriend? The one who suddenly disappeared after Helen caught her looking at the family financial records?" Mark sank into a chair, his world visibly crumbling. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because you need to choose. Right now. Lauren's facing fraud charges. James's lawyers are very motivated, and they've got evidence linking Helen to everything." I leaned forward. "You can keep protecting your mother, or you can do the right thing for once in your life. By helping you destroy my family? Your family destroyed itself. I'm just exposing the rot." His phone buzzed, Helen's face lighting up the screen. Mark stared at it, then at the photos, his hands shaking. "What do you want me to do?" "Testify. Tell James's lawyers everything you know about Helen's involvement. Help them trace the money." "And if I don't?" I pulled out one final photo, Helen with Lauren's predecessor, dated 5 years ago. The woman's face was familiar. Too familiar. "Then I send this to Evan. Let him know why his first wife really left him." Mark's breath caught. "You wouldn't. The old Sarah wouldn't. But you all helped create this version of me. Remember?" The phone kept buzzing. Helen's calls growing more urgent. Mark looked trapped, cornered by his own family's lies. "I'll do it," he whispered. "But not for you. For Evan." He deserves to know the truth. Smart choice. I gathered the photos, leaving him the ones he'd need for the lawyers. You should go. Lauren will be looking for you once the pregnancy news breaks publicly. He stood, aged years in minutes. At the door, he paused. I did love you, Sarah. In my way. Your way wasn't enough. I closed the door on his response. My phone lit up with a text from Nina. Lauren just posted about the baby. Social media's exploding. You okay? I looked at the remaining photos, evidence of Helen's past schemes. Of lives she'd ruined for her family's reputation. The familiar cold clarity settled over me again. I'm fine, I typed back. Just figuring out my next move. Because this wasn't about Mark anymore, or even Lauren. This was about Helen Mitchell, and the legacy of destruction she'd left in her wake. She thought she was protecting her family's reputation. I was going to make sure that reputation was the first thing to burn. The fertility clinic's waiting room felt different now. Sterile. Empty. Like visiting a house you once lived in, only to find strangers had painted over your memories. Mrs. Mitchell? The nurse's voice carried old sympathy. Dr. Williams will see you now. It's Miss Carter again, I corrected, following her down the familiar hallway. My maiden name felt like armor. Dr. Williams hadn't changed, same kind eyes, same gentle manner. But her expression held something new. Concern, maybe. Or pity. Sarah, she said, gesturing to the chair. I was surprised to see your name on my schedule. I need my records. All of them. She folded her hands on the desk. This is about the investigation, isn't it? The fraud allegations against Helen Mitchell? My head snapped up. She smiled sadly. Small community. Word travels. She pulled out a thick file. Helen called yesterday. Tried to access your records herself. Something about proving medical negligence on our part. The room tilted slightly. She what? She claimed you'd authorized it. When we refused, she became insistent. Dr. Williams opened the file. Sarah, there's something you should see. She slid across a lab report dated 6 months ago. My last failed IVF attempt. Look at the hormone levels. I scanned the numbers, then froze. This can't be right. Your body was responding perfectly to the treatment. The embryo was viable. Strong. She paused. Someone tampered with your medication during the critical window. The words hit like shards of glass. How? The prescription was altered. Dosage changed. Another document appeared. This is the original prescription. And this, she placed another beside it, is what was actually filled. Notice the signature? Helen's handwriting. Subtle changes to the numbers. Just enough to ensure failure. My phone buzzed. Evan, Helen's telling everyone you falsified medical records to frame her. Lauren's backing her up. They're going to the board tonight. The room spun. Dr. Williams's voice seemed to come from far away. Sarah? Do you need a moment? No. My voice sounded strange, distant. I need copies. Of everything. Already done. She handed me a sealed envelope. Sarah. Whatever you're planning, be careful. Helen Mitchell has a lot of influence in this community. I stood, envelope clutched to my chest. Not for long. Outside, Nina waited in her car. One look at my face and she knew. What happened? She killed my baby. The words tasted like acid. She made sure I'd never. My hands were shaking. Nina grabbed them. Sarah, breathe. Tell me what you need. My phone buzzed again. Lauren, this time, we should talk. About the baby. About everything. I need you to drive me to Lauren's. Are you sure? After everything. She's pregnant with James's baby. A baby Helen can't control. The pieces clicked into place. And she just gave me exactly what I need to destroy them both. Nina studied me for a long moment. This isn't just revenge anymore, is it? No. I touched the envelope containing proof of Helen's ultimate betrayal. This is justice. The drive to Lauren's was silent. She opened the door looking nothing like the polished socialite from the gala. Her eyes were red, her designer clothes replaced by sweatpants. I was hoping you'd come, she said. Save it. I pushed past her into the house. You're going to tell me everything. Every scheme, every lie, every time Helen manipulated someone's life for her precious family legacy. And why would I do that? I placed the medical records on her coffee table. Because you're carrying the one thing Helen can't control. And trust me, what she did to me? She'll do worse to you. Lauren's hand drifted to her stomach. For the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. If I help you, she whispered. Then we take her down. Together. I leaned forward. Or you can trust the woman who just proved she's willing to kill an unborn child to maintain her control. Lauren picked up the medical records with trembling hands. As she read, her face went from pale to ashen. Oh God, she breathed. What have I helped her do? The question is, I said, watching her world crumble like mine had, what are you going to do about it? Outside, storm clouds gathered. Perfect weather for what was coming. The Mitchell family estate loomed against the twilight sky, its windows glowing like predatory eyes. The annual board meeting for their charitable foundation was in full swing, Helen's last bastion of power and respectability. Everyone's inside, Evan whispered, meeting me at the side entrance. Mom's about to announce the new funding allocations. Is Mark here? Front row. Looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. He touched my arm. Sarah, are you sure about this? Once you do this. Your mother killed my baby, Evan. The words still felt raw. She doesn't get to play charitable savior anymore. Inside, Helen's voice carried through the oak-paneled halls, smooth as aged whiskey. And with these new initiatives, we'll be expanding our support for family planning services. Lauren waited in the shadows, one hand protectively over her stomach. Her testimony would seal Helen's fate. If she followed through. I stepped into the boardroom. Heads turned. Helen's speech faltered. Sarah. Her recovery was immediate, practiced. This is a private meeting. Perfect. Because I have some private matters to discuss. I moved to the center of the room. Like how you tampered with medical prescriptions. How you deliberately sabotaged my fertility treatments. Murmurs rippled through the board members. Helen's smile tightened. You're clearly disturbed, she said. Mark, perhaps you should escort your wife. Ex-wife, I corrected. And I have proof. I pulled out the medical records. Your signature. Your alterations. Your calculated destruction of a viable pregnancy. Those records are falsified, Helen snapped. Lauren, tell them. You witnessed Sarah's instability firsthand. Lauren stepped forward, trembling. All eyes turned to her. But before she could speak, Mark stood up. It's true. All of it. I found Mom's notes. The plans. Everything. Helen's mask cracked. Mark, sit down. She did it before, he continued. To Evan's wife. To others. Anyone who threatened her control over the family. The room erupted in whispers. Helen's face contorted. You ungrateful, she caught herself, smoothing her expression. Ladies and gentlemen, my son is clearly under duress. These accusations are supported by police evidence. James Adams stepped in from the hallway, flanked by two detectives. The investigation into the financial fraud led us to the medical records. Helen Mitchell, you're under arrest. Everything happened at once. Helen lunged for the medical records. Someone screamed. I felt hands grabbing me, pulling me back. Through the chaos, I saw Helen's face transform into something feral, desperate. You think this changes anything? She snarled at me. You're still barren. Still worthless. I protected this family from women like you. No, Mother. Evan's voice cut through the room. You destroyed this family. And now everyone knows. As the detectives led Helen away, her composure finally shattered. Mark. Tell them. Tell them why we had to stop her. But Mark wouldn't meet her eyes. Lauren stepped closer to me, her voice barely audible. I'm sorry, she whispered. I should have told you sooner. About everything. I watched Helen disappear through the doors, her perfectly crafted world crumbling around her. Victory should have tasted sweeter. Instead, I felt hollow. Nina found me later, sitting alone in the empty boardroom. You did it, she said softly. It's over. Is it? I touched my stomach, remembering the child that never was. The truth's out. Helen's going to prison. But I still can't. Sarah. Nina knelt beside me. What Helen did was monstrous. But letting it consume you? That's letting her win. Then what was the point of all this? Justice. Closure. She squeezed my hand. But revenge doesn't heal wounds. It just proves you survived them. Outside, camera flashes lit up the darkness. Tomorrow, the Mitchell family scandal would be everywhere. Helen's carefully constructed dynasty would be ashes. But as I sat there, surrounded by the wreckage of so many lives, I wondered if winning felt this empty for Helen too. If her need for control had left her as hollow as my need for revenge. The night air carried the scent of rain. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rolled, nature's applause for a tragedy well played. The prison visiting room smelled of industrial cleaner and stale coffee. Helen sat across from me, orange jumpsuit stark against her pale skin. Looking somehow smaller without her designer clothes and carefully crafted persona. I didn't expect to see you here, she said, hands folded precisely on the metal table. I needed to understand. I placed Lauren's latest ultrasound photo between us. She's having a girl. Something flickered in Helen's eyes. And you came to gloat? To show me the grandchild I'll never meet? I came to show you what you failed to destroy. I leaned forward. Lauren's keeping the baby. James is standing by her. Everything you tried to prevent is happening anyway. You think you understand anything? Her laugh was bitter. You saw the medical records. The fraud. But did you ever ask why? Because you're a monster? Because I was protecting them. Her mask cracked slightly. Mark. Evan. This family destroys the women who enter it. Has for generations. I felt the floor shift beneath me. What are you talking about? My mother-in-law did to me what I did to you. 3 times. Her words came faster now. I lost 3 babies before I learned to play by her rules. To become what she wanted. The perfect wife. The perfect mother. So you became her? Continued the cycle? I became stronger than her. Helen's eyes burned. I controlled it. Managed it. Protected my boys from women who would weaken them. Like Evan's first wife? She would have ruined him with her independence. Her career ambitions. Helen's fingers twitched. Like you would have ruined Mark. By wanting a baby? By loving him? By making him depend on you. The words exploded from her. Strong women destroy weak men. I made my sons strong by keeping them dependent on me. The truth hit like a physical blow. You're not protecting them. You're caging them. I'm surviving. Her composure cracked completely. And now Lauren's baby will continue it. Another generation of Mitchell women, destroying themselves to please the family name. I stood up, my chair scraping against concrete. No. You're wrong. Am I? Look at yourself, Sarah. Look what revenge has made you. Revenge didn't make me. I placed another photo on the table. Helen's arrest splashed across the morning papers. You did. Every scheme, every manipulation, every baby you killed made me stronger. Made Lauren stronger. Lauren is weak. She'll fail, just like. She's already succeeded. She's breaking the cycle. I gathered the photos. And so am I. By walking away? Proving me right? By choosing to heal instead of hate. I met her eyes one last time. Your granddaughter will never know you. But she'll know your story. As a warning, not a legacy. Helen's facade shattered completely. Sarah, wait. Goodbye, Helen. I turned toward the door. The Mitchell family line of destruction ends with you. You can't just leave me here. Her voice cracked with desperation. I'm all they have. No. You're all you have. I nodded to the guard. And that's your real punishment. Outside, Lauren waited in Nina's car, her hand resting on her growing belly. Did you get what you needed? She asked. I watched Helen being led back to her cell through the prison window. I got something better. Understanding. And I'm done. The words felt like releasing a breath I'd been holding for years. With all of it. The revenge, the anger, the Mitchell family legacy. Lauren's eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry. For everything. I know. I touched her stomach gently. But she's a new beginning. For both of us. Nina started the car, and as we pulled away from the prison, I caught one last glimpse of Helen through the barred windows. A small figure in orange, trapped in the cage she'd spent a lifetime building. The sun was setting, painting the sky in colors of healing and hope. Tomorrow, I would call the fertility clinic again. Start fresh. But this time, I'd be carrying something stronger than revenge. I'd be carrying freedom. The nursery walls were a soft green, not pink, not blue, but the color of new leaves in spring. I watched Lauren arrange stuffed animals in the crib while her daughter kicked against my palm. She's strong, I said. Like her aunts. Lauren's smile was tentative, still testing the boundaries of our fragile new friendship. Both of them. The invitation to help decorate the nursery had surprised me. More surprising was how right it felt, this quiet act of healing. My phone buzzed, a text from Dr. Williams. Test results are in. Come see me? Go, Lauren said, reading my expression. I'll finish up here. The fertility clinic's familiar corridors no longer felt like a battlefield. Dr. Williams waited with a different kind of smile than before. The new treatment protocol is working, she said, sliding the results across her desk. Your body's responding perfectly. I stared at the numbers, remembering Helen's tampering. And there's no chance. I'm personally overseeing everything. She leaned forward. Sarah, you're ready. Whenever you decide to try again. The weight of possibility settled in my chest. Not hope, not yet, but its quiet predecessor. Outside, Evan waited on the clinic steps. We'd been meeting for coffee regularly, a simple routine that had evolved into something neither of us had expected. Good news? He asked. I showed him the results. His hand found mine, warm and steady. I saw Mark yesterday, he said carefully. He's starting therapy. Finally dealing with everything. Good for him. The words held no bitterness, only a distant acknowledgement. He asked about you. And what did you tell him? That you're healing. That we all are. A text from Nina lit up my phone. Lauren's water broke. The hospital waiting room filled quickly. James pacing nervously, Nina documenting everything, Evan's solid presence beside me. Mark arrived last, hovering uncertainly at the edges until James surprisingly waved him over. Hours passed. When the nurse finally appeared, her smile told us everything. "Healthy baby girl," she announced. "Mother's doing fine." We filed in to meet the newest Mitchell, though she'd carry the Adams name, breaking one more link in Helen's chain. Lauren looked exhausted but peaceful, her daughter tiny and perfect in her arms. "Sarah," she said softly. "Would you like to hold her?" The baby settled into my arms, her weight both foreign and familiar. She opened her eyes, dark and clear, untouched by legacy or pain. "What's her name?" Mark asked from the doorway. Lauren met my eyes. "Hope." Later, in the hospital garden, Evan found me staring at the stars. "You okay?" "I thought revenge would feel like winning," I said. "But this feels like freedom." "From Helen?" "From everything. The anger. The need to prove something." I touched my stomach, thinking of Dr. Williams's results. "I'm ready to try again. For me this time, not for anyone else's expectations." "You won't be doing it alone," he said quietly. A nurse called us back inside. Through the nursery window, I watched Hope sleeping peacefully, unaware of the generations of pain that had led to her existence. My phone buzzed one last time, a collect call from the prison. "Helen." I declined it, then deleted her number. Some legacies deserve to end. Some chains need breaking. And sometimes the greatest revenge is simply living well, free from the shadows of those who tried to define us. Hope stirred in her sleep, one tiny fist raised like a victory sign. Behind me, Evan waited patiently. Ahead, the future stretched out like an unwritten page. I was done with revenge. Done with the Mitchell family saga. But my own story? That was just beginning. Nina's camera flashed, capturing the moment, not for evidence this time, but for memory. For hope. For proof that even the darkest paths can lead to light, if you're brave enough to keep walking. And I was ready to walk forward, leaving the ashes of revenge behind, carrying only the lessons it had taught me about strength, survival, and the power of choosing your own legacy.